And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
Excuse me. Your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you?
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
Oh my God.
It's the most emotional experience that a person can go through to know that what they're working on is something that has reached a generation of people.
Rachel Zegler is facing yet another major embarrassment, this time courtesy of The Simpsons. In their upcoming episode, the show takes a direct shot at Rachel and her Snow White debacle with a savage parody titled Snowwoke, the reimagining.
I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up and do the job.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yes, it's exactly what you think. A complete mockery of Disney's failed attempt to modernize a classic. Rachel is already drowning in negative headlines, fan backlash, and box office shame.
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why would they get
They
rid of
call
the
them
dwarves, though?
Magical
creatures. But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group. You just erased that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV. There's power of television. And to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story. Don't change the characters.
Snow White was utterly crushed at the box office, making a mere $2 million on its opening weekend, while the Minecraft movie raked in $60 million.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple. A wishing apple? You offer it to me freely. In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not. First love's kiss can break any curse.
Yes, a film about pixelated blocks completely overshadowed Rachel Zegler's Snow White.
Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, Cry Me a River? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
Leaving Disney humiliated. The studio never anticipated that casting Rachel would lead to the downfall of one of their most iconic fairy tales. People barely knew who she was.
To stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
Until she started making controversial statements. She expressed hope that despite her flaws, audiences would still line up to see her work.
There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings.
However, theaters were empty, with fans filming themselves walking into screenings where they were literally the only ones present. Now, The Simpsons is turning her into a national joke.
I know this point has been made, but this truly is the worst casting, maybe in the history of the film industry.
I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
Portraying her as a tone-deaf, self-obsessed girl boss, completely out of touch with reality, a sentiment many viewers share.
It got destroyed at the box office. Here's the box office numbers. The Minecraft movie made $60 million on Saturday. Snow White made 2.
Sources close to Rachel say she's furious and not laughing at all. The cartoon depicts her as someone who bans princes and lectures villagers, while her movie bombs in an empty theater.
And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Rachel has gone silent just days after Disney reportedly asked her to pay for the disaster that was Snow White. No interviews, no social media presence, nothing.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope it's off the woke we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people. One, two. Okay. 2.
The far-left activists in Hollywood are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all her media appearances. Critics have pointed out that casting someone so out of touch and disliked was a recipe for disaster.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
I'm getting on across. Hold on. Here. Yeah, hold on.
All right.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
We're like, oh wow, Snow White flopped. Who is surprised? You cast arguably the least genuine, most out of touch, and disliked person in her industry, and her industry is Hollywood. And the bad guy is Gal Gadot.
The backlash against Rachel has only intensified, especially after her controversial comments about the original film. She claimed the 1937 cartoon.
Well, we all basically knew that Snow White was going to be a massive failure at the box office because of Rachel Zegler's controversial statements.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. Super weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Featured a prince who literally stalks Snow White, calling the story outdated. This sparked outrage online, with many feeling she was mocking the very classic she was meant to represent. As the backlash grew, Rachel's awkward dynamic with co-star Gal Gadot during press events became a focal point.
Rachel Zegler just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
Behind the scenes, you guys know as well as I do that those executives like Spielberg are looking at that saying, Rachel Zegler can F right off.
Their strange body language and lack of chemistry were hard to ignore, especially at the Oscars. Rumors circulated that Gal distanced herself from Rachel due to the controversy.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. Yeah. Weird.
I just want to tell you guys about a incredible movie that just came out, Snow White. Wow. I just got to tell you, best movie I've seen in years, and there have been some really, really good films lately. Madam Web, Rebel Moon Part 1, that movie, that transgender one with the Mexican drug lord. But Snow White blows them all away. Chat, this movie has everything. Horrifying, CGI, little people, check. A feminist princess who don't need no man, double check. Diddy dance party at the end, double Diddy check. All this to say, go see Snow White right now. The new one. Not that old stupid one where the princess gets saved by some good, upstanding guy.
Disney remained unusually quiet throughout this turmoil, with no major course corrections or adjusted messaging. But the film itself failed to connect with audiences.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive. But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures.
Then they got even crazier and they decided that the dwarves in Snow White weren't woke enough, okay?
You're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Okay. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's for dwarfs, you know?
Despite Disney's marketing push, ticket sales were flat, and Snow White quickly became one of the studio's most divisive remakes. The reaction has been overwhelmingly negative.
They've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now, and how they had her tweet out like a little, "Yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her." And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, "Good job, Rachel." And then she, like minutes later, followed it up with, "And never forget, free Palestine."
And isn't her co-star Jewish?
Yes, Gadot, whatever.
Gadot. I
She's-
mean, what?
yeah.
Wow.
They tried, they flew an executive, one of the producers, out to go visit personally with Rachel Zegler to say, "Could you please take that down? Because we understand you can have your political views, but those aren't really helpful while you're trying to build an audience for a movie. Maybe you could save them
Children's
for like
movie.
your diary and your friends, but like maybe
Your
not, maybe
diary.
just take the tweet down." And she wouldn't.
With projections indicating a loss of $200 to $400 million. The film's identity crisis is evident, with critics labeling it as overly political and filled with unnecessary musical numbers.
That my name is Gal, and I'm Jewish, and we have had enough of Jew hatred.
Please welcome Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
Visual effects push the boundaries of what we see on screen.
Their work makes the impossible seem possible.
With breathtaking ambition, they create magic that wraps its arms around our wildest imaginations.
Here are the nominees for Best Visual Effects.
Rachel's public image has taken a significant hit, with casting calls that once highlighted her name now quietly moving on. Her breakup with actor Josh Andrés Rivera added fuel to the narrative of a young star unraveling under pressure.
Zegler would be a miscast in that sense. Instead, she gets her name from surviving a snowstorm.
That audiences walk away from this film with an understanding of the true meaning of fairness, of what it means to be fair in this world. There is a message that's been carried on for almost 90 years now from the original animated classic. That is, fairness is what is within. Fairness is to do with your heart, the way you treat the people around you, and it has nothing to do with what you look like, and that's the misunderstanding between Snow White and the Evil Queen. I think it's such an important message, and the way that Disney has elevated it and brought it to this new audience is very special.
Just as the dust began to settle, The Simpsons struck with their episode Snowwoke, the reimagining, featuring Rachel Z as a character who bans princes and watches her movie bomb. When Springfield'd turns you into a punchline, you've crossed from celebrity to spectacle. There's still time for a comeback.
Alex, what has been the reaction to Disney's latest expensive own goal?
Well, the reaction has been absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live action remake that they've ever done.
I mean, they're projected to lose between $200 and $400 million on this.
Hollywood loves a redemption arc, but the climb is steep. With a box office disaster, public backlash, and studio silence, Rachel's image is in tatters.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion, but the reality is she's just not stable.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
The world is now watching to see if she can piece it back together, or if this yellow-skinned satire has written the final line of her fairy tale.
The movie is doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million, and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely atrocious.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension: racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.